If you're watching this video, your marriage is probably struggling, and I'm about to tell you something that's going to make you feel a little bit uncomfortable. You don't have a marriage problem, my friend. Both of you are the problem in your marriage. And in this episode, I'm going to show you exactly why your marriage will never outgrow who you are as a person, and more importantly, what you can do about it starting right now. Now, my friend, here is what I've learned after coaching many couples over the years. Been married for 31 years. Grew up with five sisters on my mother's side. Four of them are married right now. One is married for 30 years in September this year, 2025, if this is the year you're watching this video. One is going to be married for 26 years. One is going to be married for 15, and my baby sister is going to be married for 13 years. You don't have a marriage problem. You have a growth problem. And that's actually great news. Yes, it is. And here's why, my friend. Here's why. Because it means that you have complete control over fixing it. You have complete control over fixing yourself. And let me tell you about a couple that I worked with, my wife and I. She came to us saying, my husband never appreciated anything I did. Sound familiar? She was complaining. She was constantly pouring out and pointing out his flaws, criticizing his effort, waiting for him to change. But here's what she discovered that changed everything. When she started to work on herself, addressing her own insecurities, healing from her past wounds and trauma, discovering and developing her character, dealing with the issues and the residue from past relationships, suddenly her husband started responding differently. Why? Because when you feel good about yourself, it shows and it will allow you to treat your spouse differently. You know, it is said that when the tide rise, all ship rise. And whether you are a rowboat, you are a tugboat, you are a cruise ship, whatever you are, when the tide rises, you automatically elevate. When you grow, everything around you grows, including your marriage. When you elevate your mind, you have a different aura of spirit. You have a different magnetic pull in your relationship. You know, most of us enter marriage carrying baggages we have never dealt with in our season of singleness. And that included me. I came to marriage with anger problem. I came to marriage mad as hell. Why? Because I was bullied as a child growing up. I came to marriage very argumentative because growing up with five sisters, I was always arguing with them. So I brought that type of issue into our marriage. You know, people come to the marriage with a lot of baggage. As a matter of fact, some people come to the marriage with a U-Haul truck full of stuff, and they unpack it in the marriage when they were supposed to unpack it in their season of singleness. And let me tell you this, whether you believe it or not, the way you show up in the marriage will impact how you serve and how you will deal with your spouse in marriage. Unaddressed issues, undeveloped emotions. Talk to me. Inadequacy or the lack of emotional intelligence. Then we wonder why our relationships struggle. We wonder why we are having problems in our marriage. We essentially are asking of marriage or asking of our spouse, watch this, to function at a level that we haven't even reached ourselves. That's not good. That's not fair. Your marriage will never outgrow who you are as a person. I want you to get that. Think about this for a second. If you are operating at a 5 out of a 10 in personal growth and personal development, in emotional intelligence, emotional security, emotional maturity, character, spiritual growth, guess what your marriage ceiling is? You guess it right. It's going to be a 5. So how do you break this cycle? I am going to give you a practical roadmap that's transformed countless marriages that my wife and I have worked with. And in our coaching program, we use something that is called the GRACE framework. GRACE, grace. And the G in grace is stand for putting God first. The R in grace is stand for renew yourself. That means personal growth and development. The A in grace, it means you must approve or you must agree to honor the covenant of marriage. The C in grace, it means to connect emotionally and intimately on a deeper level. And the E in grace, it stands for educate and equipped. And so the framework that we use, we teach people, or couples rather, how to build a marriage based on these transformative principles. And today, I want to focus on the R, right? Renew yourself. Yeah, I want to focus on the R, renew yourself, because you see, when you grow and when you get better, you are going to be better equipped to love and serve in your marriage. Guys, I've been married for 31 years. I came to the marriage broken, man. I came to the marriage expecting from marriage what it was not created to give. My wife is a beautiful, amazing, gorgeous person. I've known her since I was 5 years old. We grew up together on the beautiful island of Jamaica. She walked into kindergarten. I take one look at her, and I've always joked about it that I'm looking at her ever since. We grew up together from kindergarten to elementary school to junior high school. She went to a different high school, right? We went to the same church. We got saved in the same convention. We got baptized in the same baptismal service. She used to talk to me about boys that she liked. I used to talk to her about girls that I like. And at 17, she was 17. I was turning 18 at the time. And guess what, guys? I started to fell in love with her. And we dated. And my mother moved to the United States from Jamaica. And we had a long distance relationship for 4.5 years. In 1994, I went to Jamaica and got married to her. And guys, I'm sharing this story with you because I want you to understand how important it is to grow, to take ownership of where you are in life and in your marriage. And guys, hear me and hear me good. So, I used to visit every year to visit my family out there, and I get to see her, and our love bloom into something special. And I got married, and the third year in our marriage, all cracks start to show. All the areas that we thought were not possible that can impact our marriage started to impact our marriage. And that's when I realized that we needed to grow, we needed to change, we needed to get better. You don't have a marriage problem. You are the problem in the marriage. I was the problem in the marriage. My wife was the problem in marriage. But then we started to work on ourselves, fix ourselves, build ourselves up. And that's when it changed everything. Literally changed everything, my friend. And so here's 5 non-negotiables for personal growth that will revolutionize your marriage. The first one, be intentional about your growth. Stop leaving growth development by chance. You can't. You got to take it personal. You got to believe that you can get better. You see, just like how you schedule an appointment with your doctor, that's exactly how you need to schedule time with yourself. Time to do personal introspection. Time to look in the mirror, look in the lens of where you are. Focus on where you are and who you can become. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself. 15 minutes every morning, working on yourself. And when you compound these things daily, over time, you're going to grow. You're going to get better. You're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to feel good about who you are. And guess what's going to happen? It's going to impact your marriage in a positive way. Number 2, the second thing that you need to do is you got to keep your circle, or you got to curate your circle. It got to be tight. You got to be mindful of where you are. You see, you become who you associate with. You become who you surround yourself with. And see, if you surround yourself with people who complain about their marriage, if you surround yourself with people who complain about their spouse, they gossip, they always have issues and making excuses. They always come up with a reason why they're not growing. They giving up on growth. They giving up on becoming a better version of themselves. Then guess what? You're going to give up on becoming a better version of yourself too. You need to find people who challenge you to be better. Not yes, man, or yes, ma'am, yes, sir, people. Not people that just agree with everything that you're doing. People that's going to jack you up and tell you what you really need to know. That, listen, you're messing your marriage up. You're messing your relationship up. People who tell you the truth, people who tell you that you need to surrender your life to God. You need a better relationship with God. People who's going to tell you that if you really want to get good at marriage, you must get good at God's love for you and learn to love your spouse as Christ loved the church. Respect and honor your spouse. They're going to tell you the truth. And third, get God's word in your hearts daily, man. Get it in your soul. You know, it's not just about reading it, it's about applying it. Don't just read, implement it. You see, implementation creates transformation. The Bible is the ultimate growth manual, my friend, but it only works when you work it. It only works when you apply it to your life. The Bible tells Joshua, God tells Joshua, rather, in Joshua chapter 1 and verse 8, that this book of the law, don't let it depart out of your mouth. God said to Joshua, you need to meditate on this night and day, and you must do what is written therein. And if you do, you're going to make your way great and you're going to have good success. The Bible tells us in Psalms 1, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the ways of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law does he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that shall bringeth forth fruit in your season. That's verse 3. Your season is coming, but are you planted in God? Are you planted in God? You got to read, because when was the last time you read something that challenged the way you think? When is the last time? In an era, in a culture, in a society where people are addicted to their phone, it is the first thing that you reach for in the morning rather than reach for the word of God, rather than reach over and hold your spouse and pray with them. I recommend that you read books that elevate your life. One of the books that I love to read is by what's his name? I believe Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. There's so many books that I read. Books by Miles Monroe, How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People by Les Giblin. There's a book by Dr. Miles Monroe that I love to read. It's called The Power and Purpose of Prayer. Understanding the power and purpose of man, of becoming a man, understanding who you are. You got to read, man. You got to apply it to your life daily. Readers are leaders? No, leaders are readers. You can read and you're not a leader, but if you're leading your life, you're leading your family, you're leading in church, you've got to be a reader. Talk to me. And fifth, understand this formula. Marriage success equates, or it's equal to growth success. Growth success equals a better you, and a better you equals a better marriage. It is that simple, but it doesn't mean it's easy. So here's what blew my mind. This is what really got me thinking, guys. Personal growth is the least amount of work people do in marriage. Yet, it's the main cause for marital problems. Again, you don't have a marriage problem. You don't. You have a you problem in marriage. You have a spouse problem in marriage. The both of you guys come to marriage with issues that are now showing its ugly head, its ugly face in your marriage. Or for that matters, you are creating new problems based on your mindset, based on your moral standards and values and core values and character in the marriage. What if you put half that energy into changing your spouse? I want you to think about all the energy that you put into arguing, defending yourself, trying to change your spouse. What if you take some of that energy and put it into yourself? I had a client who spent 2 years trying to get his wife to be more affectionate. I'm talking about 2 years. He reads articles about love language and intimacy and tried, surprises, even threatened with divorce. But nothing works. Then I teach him and I pour into him and show him how to start focusing on his own emotional availability, on his own relational ability, how to use his capacity for intimacy, create his own rhythm of growth, his own healing from his past relationships and issues. Stop putting so much focus on what your spouse is not doing, but put in the focus on what you need to do. And within 3 months, his wife became so connected to him. The conversations that they started to have. And guess what? She started to initiate sexual affection again. Why? Because hurt people hurt people, but healed people heal people. When you're healed, you're going to show up better. When you become more emotionally whole, you create a space where your wife or your husband can thrive and flourish in. And they eventually become magnetized to the new you and want to do something to help themselves get better. The crazy thing is, when people finally get this truth in their spirit, when they really understand that the power to transform their marriage is in their hand, everything changes, my friend. Not just their marriage, but their entire life. So here is your plan of action. Here's your plan of action. I want you to pause this video right now, and I want you to write these things down. I want you to write down this week. Write that down this week. And I want you to pick one area where you know you need to grow. Maybe it's your temper. Maybe it's communication. Maybe it's forgiveness issues. Maybe it's emotional intelligence. Maybe you need to be more vulnerable. Maybe you need to listen more. I don't know. But just one. And I want you to commit to working on it for the next 30 days. Yes, for the next 30 days, I want you to commit to work on it every single day. Because marriage is about growth. Marriage is about work. Marriage is about becoming. And I want you to also write on the paper, I want you to write this month. Yes, that's right. Write this month. Find one book, find one podcast, maybe this podcast. You're watching, you're listening. One course, one coaching program. And I'm going to promote our Marriage Makeover Coaching. There's a link in the description. Book a free consultation to us so that we can talk. Get on a Zoom call with us so that we can talk. Find out where you are. Ask us any question. And we find out where you are and create a plan of action to help you to transform your life and your marriage through our coaching program. And I want you to consume it like your marriage depends on it, because it does. And also, I want you to write on your paper this quarter. So you're going to write this week, you're going to write this month, and then you're going to write this quarter. And I want you to identify the toxic pattern in your life that you are struggling with, that is sabotaging. It is really messing up your marriage, messing up your growth, impacting your marriage in a negative way. Maybe it's certain friends that you keep. Maybe it's your anger problem, your attitude. Maybe it is social media. Maybe it's your negative self-talk. And I want you to start eliminating them systematically. I want you to start dealing with them, my friend. You see, change isn't easy, but it is necessary. It is absolutely necessary. You know, Mahatma Gandhi, he said this, that we must be the change we want to see in the world. But I say, this is what I say, be the change you also want to see in your marriage. Be the change you want to see in your spouse. Your spouse didn't marry you for who you are becoming. They married who you were. The person that walked down the aisle, that's who they are. You don't marry, what is it called? Hope. You don't marry possibilities. You marry as is. But, and here's the big but, your marriage deserved who you are becoming. Your marriage deserves who you are striving and thriving to become. So I want you to stop waiting for your spouse to change. Stop making excuses, my friend. Stop pointing fingers. And I want you to take a look at yourself in the mirror, because your marriage is waiting for a better version of you. And that person is a decision away from becoming the best that they can be. But it starts with admitting that you are in life where you are, based on the choices that you have made. And you might need to make some different choices. You might need to get some different friends. And if you're struggling in your marriage and you want to build a better, stronger you so that you can become a better person, so that you can become a better spouse, then you need to take ownership of where you are and why you need to work on yourself to become a better version of you. That, my friend, is what you need to do. It's not going to be easy, but if you're serious about growth, You got to do it. If you're serious about change, you got to do it. If you're serious about where you need to be, you got to do it, my friend. You got to do it. So the question I want to ask you, what are you going to do? Are you going to still keep making excuses? Are you going to still acting like you don't know what you need to do? Or are you going to really make a decision? I want to be better. Are you ready? If you are, then you have a hope. You can hit that link in this description, in the show note, and get on our calendar. Book it, Marriage Makeover Coaching. And I will see you in that Zoom call so that we can talk and I can show you how I can help you to build a better you, build a better marriage, because your spouse is dependent on you. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of this journey with us. And I pray and trust that you will continue to trust God and you continue to lean in and be the best that you can be so that you can be better equipped to love and serve in your marriage. Please like, please subscribe, please share. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to see you in the next one.